Simone. Thank you for coming in. I know we talked a little bit over the phone, but I just really wanted to get to know a little more about why you're coming in today.
Well, I feel like my main concern is I'm getting separated from my husband, and it's really impacting me negatively. And I'm really anxious too, because I don't think I'm gonna get back together with him, and I have 2 small kids, and I'm really anxious about how I'm going to take care of them, and where I'm going to be in the next few years. I'm 25 years old, and I'm getting more anxious in regards to my age. I'm going to be 30 before I know it, and I just have so much on my plate, and I'm always anxious. I go to sleep being anxious. I wake up anxious. I wake up in the middle of the night feeling anxious. Even at work, I can't really go to work because I'm feeling anxious all the time. I feel like I'm trapped in my own house. I mean, that's basically my life right now.
I can see that. Things are really tough for you right now. You say that you are separated from your husband.
Yeah.
You're anxious all the time, whether it's like at home or at work or even in the middle of the night. And that must be really tough for you.
It's so difficult. You have no idea.
Yeah.
It is so difficult.
So just give me a little bit more about your family, and a little a history about your background, you and your husband. How long have you guys been together?
Alright, so we got married right out of high school, so we were 18, and I had my my oldest at 17, and then we moved into an apartment. We went on our own, and stupid me, I didn't go to college, so we just started building our lives at the age of 18, and then by the time I was how old was I? 21, I gave birth to my second daughter, and ever since then life's just been going downhill because I have the stress of children. I have the stress of, at the time I had the stress of my husband, and I just became really anxious. And as the years went on, I got more anxious, and my husband left me. He could not take it.
So what I'm hearing you say is there was a point in your life with your husband that you guys were doing well, and it wasn't up until after your second daughter was born, that you kind of went into this realm of feeling anxiousness.
Yeah, exactly.
So was that the very first time you've been feeling anxiety?
From what I can recall, I think I've always been anxious, but it was never this bad. After my second daughter, it just went downhill. I've been so anxious, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I mean, when I was younger, I'd have anxiety here and there when it was for tests, or if I don't know, what's something all teenagers get anxious about in public speaking, for instance, stuff like that. I would get anxious, but then after I do it, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
But now, ever since I've turned 21, 22, I've just been so anxious almost every single day.
Was there any type of situation or event that happened during that time period?
It was just, the only thing that happened was my second daughter was born, and I feel like that's when times got really tough. Times got really tough. We had to move into a smaller apartment, and my husband had to work more. I had to work more, but I couldn't work more because I had to take care of 2 children under the age of 5, and it was really difficult, and we didn't really have anyone to help us out.
Yeah, I can definitely sense how difficult it could be, having just 1 kid but now having 2, and having to move into a smaller place and having to figure all that out. That must have been really difficult.
Very.
So while all of that was going on, were there any other things that you were doing along with your anxiousness? Were you taking any meds? Were you drinking alcohol?
Well, yeah, I drink alcohol daily. It helps me sleep. I love my red wine. It calms me down, and then I fall asleep. So I'm not ashamed to say I drink.
Yeah. So when you say you enjoy drinking, do you drink, 1 or 2 glasses a night, or 3 to 4 that leads to a whole bottle? Like how much are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, it's been increasing. I have to say I drink about 4 to 5 glasses, almost a bottle, almost. And I mean, the funny thing is when I'm drinking and I see the wine bottle, this much is left, I think it's pointless to let it go to waste, so I drink that as well.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember you saying that your husband's concern was just the drinking as well, right?
I mean, he thinks, yeah, but I feel like he drinks as well. You know, I can't be the victim. I feel like it's my fault. He keeps on saying it's my fault, but he drinks too, and he just irritates me, to be honest. He's just an irritating man.
So, let's just like backtrack a little bit. When you drink, is it because you enjoy drinking, or you feel a little like stressed out, having a little like anxiousness that you wanted to kind of like relieve those symptoms?
I feel like it's a combination of everything. Because my days are so long. I have to go to work early in the morning, and then by the time I get home, I'm so stressed out. I'm already anxious as it is, and when I take that first sip of wine, everything, it's a different world. I feel so calm.
So what I'm hearing you say is like you being able to drink that wine relieves your stress.
Definitely.
Okay. So just like out of curiosity, was there any type of, like were your parents drinkers, or your brothers, sisters? Like, do you have any siblings?
My dad would drink. My dad would drink often, and my mom was fine with that. She was a homemaker. She tended to him. My dad worked so hard, and he had such long shifts, and he drank at night because he was tired, and I mean, that was that. And I have 2 sisters. My older sister, we don't really talk a lot. She doesn't really drink, and then the younger one, she's an occasional drinker.
So what I'm hearing you say is that your dad was a frequent drinker, and your mom was really okay with that. You have 2 sisters. Your older one was an occasional drinker.
Yeah, I don't really talk to her, but
Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen her in 6 years. It's been a really long time, and we have no contact. So.
Okay. And with your other sister?
With my younger one, she's an occasional drinker. She's 2 years younger than me, and she's the one who actually helps me raise the children when I go to work. So when I go to work, she watches the kids, and then she's just, I don't know what I do without her.
Okay. So how was your relationship with your dad specifically?
It was okay. I was never really close to my dad. He was always really busy, and I don't have a relationship with him till this day. I don't really see him. I might see him during the holidays, maybe, but I don't really have a relationship with him, and I didn't have a relationship when I was younger.
Do you think that maybe like the alcohol took part in that?
I don't know. I never really thought about it. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. So just kind of another thing that I wanted to touch base on is any thoughts of suicide?
No, I love my kids too much.
Okay.
I couldn't leave this world knowing that they're not okay. Yeah.
Okay. And also, like, just have you ever experienced any like a traumatic experience within your own family, or within like your own little family, or within your parents and your sisters?
I guess it's traumatic. I don't really think it's traumatic, and I haven't really shared it with anyone. But about when I was around 22, so about 3 years ago, I suffered a miscarriage, and we were expecting a boy, and I was about 4 months along, and just, when we went to the doctor said that, actually, let me backtrack. I felt pain in my stomach, and then I started bleeding, and we went straight to the doctor, and the doctor was like, "You're going through a miscarriage," and it was really, really traumatic, and I didn't really have anyone. My husband didn't really want to talk about it, and I didn't really have anyone to talk to. So.
I'm sorry, that must have been a really tough experience for you.
It was a very, very difficult experience.
And especially not being able to have anyone to rely on.
Yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, was this after your daughter, your second daughter, or was this before?
It was after.
After. So would you say that is like when your anxiety and drinking kind of took place? Or around the same time?
Never thought of it. Yeah, around that time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was around that time.
And would you say also around that time is like when you and your husband started having some difficulties?
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to ask you, on like a scale of like 1 to 10, like 1 not feeling that much anxiety to 10 like extreme anxiety. So how are you feeling right now at this moment?
So 1 is not extreme, and 10 is extreme anxiety. Right now, I'm about a 5. Yeah, so I'm smack dab in the middle.
Okay. And when you before you came into session, what was that on the scale?
Maybe a 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going down a little bit on the scale.
We are. I was really nervous about this therapy session. I've never been in therapy, and I didn't know what to expect. And when I don't know something, the unknown scares me. It freaks me out, and my anxiety can hit all the way to a 10.
Yeah.
But once I become aware of my surroundings, I know what's going to happen, my anxiety does lower. But it's just that fear of the unknown.
Well, I really want to thank you for like owning up and coming in.
Yeah.
Like I know it wasn't easy.
It was not whatsoever.
Well, thank you for being here.
Of course.
Just kind of moving forward, I know we talked about like your symptoms and like how you have anxiety, like it can happen like anytime, like during work or in the middle of the night. And I just want to like dig deeper into that and just ask you a little more. So we talked about how you use alcohol as a way to like relieve those symptoms of like feeling stressed and anxiousness.
Yeah.
What are other ways that you like cope through it?
I think my kids. We go to the park, and when they're having fun, and when I see the happiness in their eyes, I forget about myself. I forget about my own anxiety, and I'm calm when I'm with them. And there's really nothing else. It's just my kids right now.
So you enjoy spending time with your kids?
Oh, tremendously, very much.
So do you feel that we could potentially have that as like one of our like coping skills? Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what other things would you want to work on in therapy?
It's just my anxiety. I don't find any hope in getting back together with my husband because he is not willing to work through our problems. Every time he hits a tiny little problem or hits like a bump in the road, he just wants to make a U-turn. He doesn't want to work through it, and I'm tired with that. I'm exhausted. What else can I do? So, I mean, he's not really a top priority. My top priority is my anxiety. And that's really all at this point in my life.
Okay. So you're feeling a little angry towards your husband?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very.
Okay. So your strengths for right now are your kids. Those are that's the main thing that's keeping you going right now. Are there like any any other things, like do you have like like a good relationship with your friends or your mom or your younger sister? I know you said your older sister you don't really talk to as much.
And my younger sister, I'm very, very close to. My mom, she's okay. I mean, she's a great grandmother, but she didn't approve of my lifestyle choices. She didn't want me to get married when I was 18, and well, she didn't. She did want me to get married because it would be frowned upon. If I were an unwed mother. She just didn't want me to marry my husband. But she's a wonderful grandmother, as I mentioned before. She's sweet, she's doting, and she sometimes helps me take care of the children. My relationship with her overall it's okay. It's a very, very normal mother-daughter relationship. With my sister, the younger one, oh, I love her tremendously. I don't know what I would do without her. The older one, I haven't talked to her. I mean, what I know right now is she's some hotshot lawyer, and that's all I really know. She's married, and I don't think they have any children.
And what about like your circle of friends?
Yeah, I have a good supportive unit of friends. Maybe I have some high school friends, maybe 3 or 4 high school friends that have gone through this whole journey with me, and I've been really close with them, and they've been helpful. Other than that, I have acquaintances, but it's nothing like those other friends.
So when you see yourself hanging out with those friends, are like, is your anxiety, you know, like on a scale of 1 to 10, is it like on 1 side? Is it on the 10 side? Like 10 being really extreme, 1 being not as extreme?
4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you consider, you know, like to like lower your anxiety? Would you consider being able to like, you know, spend time with your kids and being able to spend time with your friends, like have like a good balance of the two?
I would say spending time with my kids is a bigger priority than friends is, because when I'm with friends, I worry about my kids. I worry where they are, what they're doing, and that enhances my anxiety.
Yeah. Okay. So far we have talked about, you know, like how we can strengthen your anxiety with, you know, like having coping skills with hanging out with your children. What about when it pertains to alcohol?
What about it?
Are there like any other ways that you can, you know, like that you used to do before the alcohol, like that would put you to sleep?
Well, I used to read books, and my husband would sit next to me, and we would read books together. It was interesting. We would read the same book, and then I'd be ahead of him, and then I'd spoil what would happen, and that's what would help me fall asleep.
So, like, I know, like, you mentioned, like, earlier that you don't want one of, like, the goals to, like, focus on your separation, but I think your husband is, like, a really good aspect to put into this, because at one point before your anxiety, like, you felt, you know, you could go to sleep and you weren't feeling distress, and he was always next to you. So do you think that maybe, like, you know, like, in our later sessions we could work on, have that as, like, one of our goals?
Maybe. Sure. I don't know, to be honest. Maybe.
Would you say that, like, you know, like, going to sleep and reading the books with your husband, sorry. Would you say that your time with your husband right before bed was, like, a really good place for you?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't like going to sleep alone now, and maybe that's why I drink the alcohol. I don't know, but it's just the thought of going to sleep alone or reading alone, I can't do it. It's something I can't do.
Yeah. I can definitely hear, you know, like, the sadness that comes in with that. And, you know, I feel like it would be really good to work on a few things that make you happy. So I know we discussed earlier, like, your kids are one of them. Maybe, like, working, you know, having some type of communication with your husband will be another one. What other, like, goals you see in therapy?
I don't know, maybe, you know, it's weird. I mean, now that I'm in therapy, just to develop a better relationship with my mom. That's what I want.
Okay. So so far, we have, like talking with your mom, building a better communication with your husband, and spending more time with your kids are ways that could help you like decrease your anxiety.
Definitely. I think so. I mean, I need a support system, and I feel like that's something I never had. Especially with that last miscarriage. If I were to have my husband by my side, if I were to have my mom, I feel like things would have transitioned so much more smoothly than what it is now at this point in my life.
Yeah.
I honestly want to stay married with my husband. I want to grow our family, but I want to stabilize everything. I want to make sure that we can be financially supported, yet I don't want to be the one stressing out about the finances. I want my husband to help me. And I feel like because of the lack of having a support system, my whole life is up in flames right now.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing you say is you do want to get back with your husband and you want to start a family and have that social support system and family system. And you feel like all those ways can make you feel like whole and happy.
Yeah, I guess so. It's interesting. Before coming to therapy or this session, I was so angry at my husband and I didn't really think of getting back together with him. But now that we're talking, I realize how much I miss him and how much I need him, not to support me financially, but to support me emotionally, support my children.
Yeah, I can definitely see how like hard it could be coming in here alone and with all that anger and frustration. But like I'm glad that you came, you were able to like like have a clear and open mind about this and like be able to think about what you really want in your life and how you want to move forward with it. So I really want to thank you for coming in.
Of course.
And for next session we could work on a little more of like how we can like like coping skills and self-care.
Okay, I would really like that.